Tom, thank you so much for making time in your schedule. I wish that you were larger and people could see you and your wonderful face and eyes. But this is, I guess, what we can do for now, unless we do it from your page.
I don't think that there's a lot of value in having me any bigger than I am. I'm already way too big. So you can hear me, and I have a feeling this is the way God wanted it to go versus us, and I think we probably need to go with that one.
That's not bad to follow. That's not a bad route to follow. So thank you so much for being on, making time. You guys are world travelers, world speakers, world trainers, and I have so much to learn from you about people, about love, about network marketing. I love your wisdom, your humor, your experience, how you connect with people. So, Tom, I have my questions. How has, this is our MLM Leadership Lunchtime Show, and we teach from John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I might just say, for the sake of this recording, I already introduced you on the old one, but why don't I go ahead and introduce you real quickly so that we have that on this recording for people. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Chenault. His wife, he and Denice have been married for almost 20 years. They live in Longmont, Colorado, beautiful, beautiful land on the lake. They're living the dream. They speak at all of Eric Worre's and Marina Worre's GoPro events. Tom, and he's much, much loved and sought after speaker and trainer. Tom Chenault has run the Tom Chenault Radio Show for almost 30 years, and he hosts the world's largest MLM radio show, where he interviews the top people in this profession. He is recognized in the top 25 network marketers in the world. He's been in network marketing 28 years, no newbie. He's a very active board member on key network marketing professional organizations such as ANMP. He's a director of that, and he's a board member on the MLMIA. Thank you, Tom, for your service. I know you are a passionate advocate and guardian of the best of network marketing. He calls out the worst. He's not afraid to do that. And he is a champion for the best. He and others like him are guiding lights for us in network marketing to keep the profession, to keep this professional and to raise the bar in this profession constantly. Thank you for your tireless work, all unpaid, all from your heart. Thank you very much. By the way, yesterday, Tom did a very awesome interview with Richard Bliss Brooke. I think that would be worth catching that. Just go to Tom Chenault's page and you can find that on his radio show. And that's Tom Chenault, C-H-E-N-A-U-L-T. C-H-E-N-A-U-L-T. But of course, you'll see the links in the comments here when we're finished. So that was a very powerful and also hilarious radio interview. You guys have way too much fun together. What you do back and forth, oh my goodness. So teaches with humor, very, very fun. Tom actually interviewed me on his radio show a little while back, earlier this year. And the experience for me in this seat, being interviewed by Tom, was one of great love. I got off never feeling so loved. He connects, he loves, he edifies, he listens, he cares. And this is an example of what he does with people in relationships. He is famous for his coffee house interview, where he can go into a coffee shop while Denice parks the car, and within the few minutes it takes her to park the car, she walks in and he introduces a couple that he's sitting with and it's just chatted with like they were old friends. And he says, Denice, this is John and Mary from here in Longmont, Colorado, and John does this and Mary does this, and they have this many kids and they live over here and they want to do this in their life. This is their dream. And he introduces them like he's known them all his life. So in a few minutes, you can feel so comfortable with Tom that you feel at home. oh, this is my home with this man, my old good friend, is what I'm not that old, Tom, but but this is my dear friend who I feel like I've known all my life already. So that's an example of him and his coffeehouse interview, which anyone can master and learn, you know, how to talk to new people and get to know them quickly and be friends with, get to know, like, and trust you quickly. From that, he has added on a system of how to stay, because once you get to know people, you want to stay in touch with them, right? So his son Adrian has created a system, a digital system, to stay in touch with people called contact mapping, and it's a way to keep track of people's details, even if you forget their name, and be able to know when to follow up with them. So, Tom, the other day in a post, you said, I used to think that the coffee house interview was my favorite thing. Now I think it's the contact mapping, because follow up is where the love is. That's how you be in touch with people, care about what's best for them, what they need, not what we need. And so these are two tools that Tom has contributed to the profession of network marketing. Great landmark tools. Tom, I've done a lot of talking. He says,
I fell asleep.
I
I,
apologize.
I'm not that, no, I'm just not that interesting. You can, I mean, that was a tremendous amount to talk about, and maybe some of it's true. I love you, Bess, and you know what? I'm honored to be on with you. I'm so sick that whatever technology problems we had on the previous part, we weren't on that other wall, but thank you for letting me be part of this.
This is the way God wanted it, like you said, because
Amen.
I was going to interview you, then my phone didn't work right, so Jeff was going to interview you, and God must have said, well, I guess it's supposed to be Bess and Tom. So
Yeah.
I feel good about that. Tony Canuli says contact mapping is real innovation for the profession. Thank you for being on, Tony. And yes, that was an amazing show yesterday. Okay, Tom, I want to hear from you now. Enough of me talking. We are interested in what you have to share, especially around leadership, network marketing. What have you seen that's good? What have you seen that's bad?
Leadership in network marketing is an important and huge component. And one of the problems that network marketing has is that most of the time, either your volume or your rank or your check somehow has you believe you're a leader, and it's got nothing to do with it. Some of the greatest leaders I know make $500 a month because they're actually leading instead of talking about it. Instead of telling people what to do, they're doing it with them, and they're being a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. What I see in network marketing, and especially at my age, and the temptation for me is much that I have a pretty big check, I have a pretty big organization, I have a pretty lofty title, and I'm 67 years old. So my ego tells me to stay in bed. My ego tells me to tell everybody else to go do it. My ego tells me to tell them to understand that I've already done it and I don't have to do it anymore. And that is complete and total hogwash. That's not leadership. That's entitlement. And I don't believe in entitlement. I believe in leadership. And I actually prepared for those questions, amazingly enough, and got away from our buddy, and I love John Maxwell. But you guys have gone through John Maxwell and Go Pro to a level that is, you guys know 10 times more about it than I ever will. And I'm going to strongly encourage you that Go Pro and the 21 laws and so many more things by John Maxwell are absolutely the most important part. But I just went some other places to get some more information for you guys. So I at least felt a little bit relevant instead of like this old dinosaur just repeating what you already know. So listen to this. I define a leader as anyone who takes responsibility for finding the potential in people and processes and who has the courage to develop that potential. Come on. Every one of you meet great leaders every day. They've got great leadership in them, but you've got to have the courage to bring that leadership out of those people. You've got to have the leadership to bring that leadership out of those people. a guy, Scott Bardulis, man. I met this guy more game than anybody you're ever going to meet in a coffee shop, just exactly like Bess was talking about. Ran into the guy, we had a cup of coffee. He was going everywhere but to where he wanted to go. And he knew he had it all. And basically what I did, I had a cup of coffee with him. I sat down with him. I agreed to listen to him and talk to him, and I let him go and let him become the leader he is. And my leadership skills with him is letting him be the best him. And everybody that you have as leaders, it's that way. You've got to, every one of these leaders that you have or have in development are individuals that need to be led in a different way. There is no cookie cutter for leadership. I hope you know that. And I play it really big on that level. I treat them all differently. A lot of times they're, you know, in any network marketing company, you've got to have a myriad of leaders. And Eric Worre will tell you that even in your giant organizations, he'll tell you that, you know, I actually sat down with him, and Denice and I made a list, and Denice is going to come on and say hi. Even in our organization, which has a tremendous amount of people in it, the true leaders, I mean, the numbers are low, because leadership is something so hard to train and develop. And I work on that every day of my life. It's so important. 20 to 30, you're right, Tony, that's 100% right. So another thing that this book that I'm reading says, we need braver leaders and more courageous leaders. We are doing something so important here. And even if you went out there and you made it, and you're making whatever number it is that is making it in your book, whether it's $1,000 a month, whether it's $10,000 a month, whether it's $100,000 a month, I don't know what your number is to the point where you say, I've made it. For the record, I will tell you, you don't know what my number is, but for the record, Tom Chenault hasn't made it yet. So know that I don't believe I've made it yet. And there's still work to do. But I do know that I need to be braver, and I need to take this culture that we've got, and I need to make it even stronger. And the only way that I'm going to do that is to develop leaders believing the same thing, believing that they can do it, and believing in the culture that we built. That's the only way to get there from here. So does that make any sense, Bess?
Sure. And Tom, what is the vision of network marketing that leaders can develop or hang on to or convey to their team?
The vision of network marketing is hope. We are in a hopeless society right now, especially in the United States. I think it's everywhere. And everywhere you go, people are resigned, and people are standing on the sidelines saying somebody's got to do something. In network marketing, there is no entitlement, there's no tenure, there's no nothing, there's no education, there's nothing to stop you from saying, I'm going to do something. You can be Gandhi, you can be Mother Teresa, you can be Oprah Winfrey, you can be Elon Musk, you can be any one of those people that we're looking back now and saying those people were visionaries, those people are visionaries. People can say that about you, because there is the chance for you to grab that ball and run with it at a level that you can't believe, but you can't listen to anybody else. I want to read something else. This is like crazy good. Can you believe I was doing all this work? My wife just yelled no for the other host. I have a terrible peanut gallery, but I like this. I like what I'm going to read you right now. I have a mandate by which I live. If you're not getting in the arena to get your ass kicked on occasion, I'm not interested or open to your feedback. There are a million cheap seats in the world filled with people who will never be brave with their lives, but they will spend every ounce of their energy they have hurling advice and judgment at those who dare greatly. Their only contributions are cynicism, criticism, and fear-mongering. If you're criticizing from a place where you're not also putting yourself on the line, I am not interested in what you have to say. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, New York Times, HuffPost, every one of those people just reading all that stuff every day and then walking out and spreading it around, not doing a damn thing, gets us nowhere. We got to play it big. We've got to be brave, and we got to knock the cover off the ball, and we have to show people what this profession is powerfully and with courage. And I'm getting the hook right now because I'm getting too wound up. Here she is, the one and only.
Hi, Denice. I'm so glad you
How
could
are
pop
you?
on. How are you? Gorgeous
I'm great. Are
lady.
you sitting in front? Is that a painting that you're sitting in front of?
What's behind
Excuse me? Oh, it's a painting. Yep. Yep. It's one of my paintings. I've done a few paintings
Cool.
here. I use these as backdrops
wow.
for the
Look at that.
lives. There. I used to oil paint a lot
That's
before I
great.
got busy being an advocate for network marketing.
Well, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're beautiful.
Oh,
All right, well, good. She's done.
she's done. Happy to see you guys.
I'm glad to see you. We'll hope to have you on again sometime.
Yep.
That'd be great.
She heard me kind of getting her sound. She'll come back running over. If I go off on a rant like that again, she'll come beelining over to straighten me out. So count on that.
Only if apologize for him.
Yeah, that's it though, man. We got a bad.
Did you read that one?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
So,
I read that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah. So, and believe it or not, the book that I'm reading right now is a very touchy-feely book by somebody that is unbelievable on leadership, but primarily an advocate for vulnerability, which I can't even say the word, and shame. And that is Brene Brown. And
yes.
Brene Brown is a beast. And it's hard to believe a hardcore, pretty not cultured, pretty sloppy guy like me loves Brene Brown. It is actually shocking. But I just think that she leads. I used to lead, and this is something else about leadership, very, very important. The higher you go up the ladder, the larger your sword or your spear. So if I want something done in my company, it's fair to say that the tail wags the dog. And I can take that big sword I've earned over 20 years at my company, and I can cut almost any employee down. I can cut down almost any policy or procedure. I can literally do anything because they don't want me to leave. They don't want me in the field. So they don't want me mad. So I get my way with that big sword. So I go do, and I've done every person, because I'm such a train wreck. I've done every personal development course on the planet. I've done the forum. I've done Psi seminars. I've done Life Spring. I've done Tony Robbins. And I end up down in Arizona, and I'm doing a course called something with Michael Burnoff. And I think my company paid him to just do another seminar on me without me knowing it. Because I walk in the door and they're going, there's somebody in this room that's got a huge organization and he's powerful and he thinks he's all of it in a bag of chips. And what I'm here to do this weekend is have that guy put the sword down and stop being a warrior. I want him to become a wizard. And instead of cutting people in half, I want him to sprinkle magic and pixie dust on things and do it with kindness and in love. And a guy named Sanjeev Javia had told me that a few years before. And I'm telling you this because you're all going to be in the position that I was in. So I've stepped in the pothole for you. And now I'm telling you to walk around the pothole, because even though you've got that big sword, which I had, I don't want it. People know I've got that sword. I don't need it anymore because I lead with love. And this is exciting. Because
thank you, Tom, for being so
now,
vulnerable.
Yeah, true story. And Sanjeev, the first guy that told me, I want to tell you that real quickly, because he's a corporate guy at my company, dear friend of mine, Tom Brady's roommate in college, good movie star looking, has my attention. And he said, Tom, you always get your way. You get your way with everybody. But guess what? You're always going to get your way. But you're not getting your way like you think you're getting your way. Because what happens is you start raising hell and copying everybody on your emails because it's not going your way and doing all the stuff you do because you're supposedly so powerful. We all jump It's like a nuclear bomb goes off and everybody's day is ruined, especially the person that you're targeting. But then everybody says, we have to get this done for Tom Chenault right now. And then they get it done exactly to the level that they were forced to do it. My arrogance had those people never do any more than they needed to because I didn't deserve it. I deserved exactly what I demanded, not what I don't even know, because I didn't even know that, I didn't even know I had the lid on. And kindness, then sending flowers and sending love and being kind. And believe me, this happened many years ago. So all of you people that are hating me right now, just go, Tom Chenault, I never knew he was such a jerk. This wasn't like yesterday I took Burnoff's course. I've been this newer way for a very long time now. But as I've reflected about what to talk to you guys about, so much power comes with being a big leader, but with that big power comes big responsibility. And you got to remember that. And you lead with empathy. We've got people now running countries that don't get that. They're saying mean things to people because they can. And I said mean things to people because I could. And sure, I got the job done, like the people saying the mean things. But at the end of the day, did I really make the world a better place? And my job is to make the world a better place. So I just got a platform for that rant, and I appreciate that. It's never come out of my mouth before publicly. But yeah, I'm like dead serious about this and how big the game we're playing is. And you're a fan of Eric Worre, and I went and did that Beyond Leadership thing with him. And the only reason I spent all that money was try to figure out a way to retire because I'm getting old. It's stupid to wait till I'm 65 to retire since I'm already 67. So I didn't retire, but I went there to kind of like start phasing myself out. And he said, you're crazy. He says, you don't retire out of this business. You have too much to do. You've got to retire in. You've got a big job here. You got to change the world. You finally have people listening to you, and you want to go spend your money and lay on a beach. Are you crazy? And he was right. So the last couple of years have been completely dedicated to reversing that thought process and really thinking bigger and doing something bigger than I've ever done before and going back to God. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I think I'm saying some stuff that's pretty good. So I'm going to keep talking for a minute. Going back to God. My son Adrian's out there in Zurich, Switzerland, and he's running a company. He's the head of international finance, got 3 kids, and he's living in Zurich and got all this education and his rent $6,000 a month. And he's in charge of all these different countries. And the kid, it looks like he's going to die. And he keeps, every time he goes up another rung on the ladder, they take another pound of flesh from him. And he said, no, I'm done, Dad. I'm coming home. I'm going to figure something out. And he prayed. He's a real spiritual kid. And he prayed like crazy. And said, I'm going to digitize Dad. And that's basically what we did with his contact mapping. And he built this app just doing what I do really well, which was the coffee shop interview, we thought, which is why we're having this conversation today. So the coffee shop interview has made me famous. It's made me millions of dollars. It's made me millions of friends. And I thought the coffee shop interview was all a bit in a bag of chips. So the kid builds this app. And this app is crazy because whenever any of you put somebody in your phone, you put in their name and phone number, or you put their business card in your pocket, and then you go on your merry way. And one of these days, that guy calls you on the phone and you go, who is that guy? And you can't even remember who he was, even though you put him in your phone. And Adrian designed this app that takes your picture. Then you take the picture of the guy, and then a microphone pops up and says, what do you know about Bess McCarty? And you run right through everything you know, right while it's fresh in your brain. And then that's in the notes. And the next thing you know, you go to bed that night. Oh, and then you have to put a follow-up in, even though you were never planning on following up the person. Why'd you put them in your phone? So no follow-up isn't an option. That's where the reason I'm talking to you today. And what's so crazy about that is now all my contacts in my phone have a forced follow-up part. So every leader I've got, I'm out here trying to chase all these guys. I'm trying to get, here's how rich we are, by the way. Here's how rich we are. You want to see how rich the Chenaults are? This is a banana. That's like in our house. This is a banana. Look at this banana right here. This is in the fruit bowl. So I guess I'm supposed to eat this banana. Yeah. I guess I'm supposed to eat this banana before we get to go to the store and buy new bananas. Is that tragic enough? That's my life right there. But I have no idea what banana and the app. There's no correlation. At the end of the day, everything goes into the phone, and there's something to remember there. And then the follow-up is there. And then if you don't put the people in the phone, if you just put the name and phone number in your phone, tonight you get a note from the phone that says, wait a minute, you met Bess McCarty today. Do you really want to go to sleep without putting her information in? That's miraculous. And then you start getting the follow-up. And I thought I was great at follow-up, I swear, because I know everybody knows me. I've got all these notes in my phone. I did all that on the front end really, really well, but I didn't know how lousily I followed up. And now I am dialed in. And if I know you, you're probably on, you're on a minimum every 3-month touch, where I just say, I love you, Bess. And if I'm trying to do something with you on a regular basis, I'm texting you once a month. If you're a leader in my business, one of my big guys, I've got you set up in the app for at least once a week, because a week can't go by without me calling or saying thank you to my leaders. And the prospects are a whole different ballgame. So that's what you can get. And I tell you, I'm not a very good network marketer. I'm a great place to visit. You don't want to live here. I'm really good on that front end, on the relationship side of it. And this is where it's at. Your company's got the culture. Your company's got the system. Your company's got all the whiz bang jazz stuff. This is just plain blocking and tackling Vince Lombardi fundamentals to have you become a better person. A guy that works at the contact mapping place is a guy named Rick, and I met him in a coffee shop, and he overheard a conversation of me telling somebody else about it, and he says, I want to do something with this. And he quit his job, and now he works there full time. But the magic of that is he's got a PhD and his undergraduate from MIT. He's a scientist. He's 36 years old, and he sees this as the connection for the world that's been hiding in plain sight forever, because we're actually remembering people instead of just looking through them. So that's my whole speech. How's that?
Thank you, Tom. Don't people love you and appreciate you when you remember their name and you remember some things about them? Hey, how's your mother doing? How was that trip that you took? So thank you for that example of how to be a leader, and even the number of times that you're in touch with people to whatever degree. Now, Harvey McKay said, find a way to add 2 new contacts to your list every day, and a creative way to stay in touch with them. So this provides that. Social media provides that. For those who wonder where to find out about, I know some people here are interested in contact mapping, and that is at contactmapping.com, right? That they can find out about that.
Right.
Contactmapping.com.
And I don't care if you guys, I don't care about contactmapping.com. I swear to God, I don't. That's just a tool. I care that you become better humans, because I don't want you to think this was some sort of infomercial, everybody. I mean, it isn't. I don't care about that. I care about everybody stopping this thought process where you're going to enroll people with a click, become a millionaire. I just went on a rant a couple of days ago. Somebody was talking about it somewhere, about a guy that sent me a text message saying, okay, this guy sent out this 3-minute video for the last 2.5 months. He's now making $85,000 a month. He doesn't do meetings. He doesn't talk to anybody. All he does is that bullshit. Guess what? I hate him. It's horrible, because he's taken all us normal human beings developing relationships and totally minimizing that, totally invalidating that. And I just sounded like the guy I told you earlier I didn't want to sound like when I said I hate him. So I got that so loud and clear. I know I have to call that on myself, because I'm so mad at that guy. I want to grab the spear. Instead, I got to put the pixie dust on it. So Oh, here she comes again. Oh,
You know,
no, I'm sorry.
is your peanut gallery coming back? Um,
Yeah.
you know what I figured, Tom, is that the people that are doing this stuff need to learn the lesson, and the people that are following need to learn lessons. So it will really take care of itself. But we can still be advocates and voices for the relationship part. So I think what you were saying is that that doesn't really exist. That does not really work in the long run. And sorry to fool the people that get entranced by the bright, shiny objects and the distractions. But guess what? They will learn too. They will come around. And you mentioned the potholes, that you like to save people from the potholes. Me too. But sometimes I just need to step in it and see, you know, I need to get down in the mud and dirt and see why I want to stay out of it. Right?
Oh, if I see a pothole, that's a great point. I want to go in first, make sure it's safe for everybody. And if there's a way to avoid that pothole, I'm not telling you not to be brave. I'm not telling you not to be courageous. And yeah, another thing where, yeah, that's it. True story. So you're right. You're 1,000% right. If I inferred that, I'm sorry.
I think the potholes in leadership is that we get a little more power, a little more influence, and people start looking to us and everything. And then it's our responsibility what we're going to do with that. But it's tempted to use it for selfishness, right? When we get some influence and some power, am I going to use that to serve myself, or am I going to use it to serve the good of all? I think that is the leadership test. And we can all encounter that test at every little step along the way that we do acquire the levels of influence. And what will we do with it? So that's our purification process, right? Would you say?
I agree 100%. Another thing I want to, we are so arrogant that we just assume we can read people's mind, find out if they want to be I'm kind of a large guy. So wherever I walk into, there's usually a weight loss shake or a wafer or something like that being offered to me. And because people interview me with their eyes. Does that make sense to you? And all of us are guilty of that. So somebody's hips looking cool, we think they'd really be a good leader. Somebody's got something going on health-wise, we want to jam a product down their throat. And you don't like being treated like a prospect all the time. I mean, you hate it. Understand they do too. And please give people the respect of getting to know them. Find out what they want to buy. Find out what they don't want to buy. Find out what their money looks like and their health looks like. Take the time to talk to them long enough to develop a tiny relationship before you come with the artillery. And then when you come with the artillery, make it a couple days later and say, I've been thinking about you, and you told me your house has been foreclosed on, you're in the real estate business, and you really have a lot of skills, but it's just kind of been a bad time. I work with somebody who might have an idea for you. They're going to feel thought of. They're going to feel honored. I don't think Bess mentioned this, but I've been sober for 30 years. So every morning I go to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And in those meetings, those people are on the edge of the cliff. And a business conversation or any dumb conversation about anything other than recovery is going to push them farther over the cliff. I don't have the luxury of trying to treat every human being like every other network marketing guru tells you to do. And that's like a prospect. Everybody isn't a prospect. And it's no fun looking at everybody like a prospect. Look at everybody like a human being. Give them a chance to tell you what they want to buy, and give them a chance to tell you what they don't want to buy, and then wait 2 days and ask them to buy what they said they wanted to buy 2 days earlier, and don't ask them to buy what they said they'll never buy, and your rate of success is going to quantum up. How many times do you hear it? I hate multi-level marketing. I don't ever want to join multi-level marketing. It's the most horrible thing in the world. You leave the meeting, you come back the next day with another trick to get them into multi-level marketing. And they say no, and you're mad at them. You should be mad at you. They told you. They told you. Why not love them and serve them? And come, 17 years old is when I happened to finally get my first run into Amway. I got into Amway when I was 17. And Rob Sperry put something else up and said, what would you say to your 17-year-old self? And what Tom Chenault at age 67, so 17 was a long time ago, 50 years, 60 years, some amount of years. I'm so old I can't even do the math. Here's the deal. I would have said, don't quit Amway. But at 17, I quit Amway. It was a pyramid. It was all that jazz. I wasn't ready for Amway. Amway was ready for me, but I wasn't ready for Amway. I wasn't ready for network marketing for 20 more years until I was 37 years old. I quit drinking. It was the last house on the block, and I had to do it. So I chased my way into network marketing instead of got tricked into Amway when I was 17. And so just think that over. And I think that's true, and I think it's important.
Thank you very much. Your experience has shown that this is the best way to be a leader, by example of caring about people one at a time, not through a click funnel and not through an automated system, but loving people and leading with love, leading with the one-on-one relationships. So you're teaching and you're leading by your example. And whenever you tell a story about it, you are leading, you're showing your team and everybody else in network marketing how to do this. I really related to when you talked about wanting to retire. I think this happens to a lot of people in network marketing, saying, I'm just going to do this just until I get to this point, then I'm going to kick back on the beach or let my organization go on automated. But we know that it either grows or it shrinks, right? We either give a garden attention with our love, and it either grows or it begins to die and shrivel. So John Maxwell too teaches that the greater leader you are, or the bigger team you have, or the more history that you have, the more responsibility you have to go the next step to be greater. Now you can reach more people. So it really keeps increasing. But then so does our support and our expertise. And I think that we have all the help that we need to do whatever we feel that our given mission is. So let's not be afraid to step up. I have to tell myself this all the time. I'm always stretching and going to new levels. You know, can I do this? Am I good enough? Do I have the resources? Do I have the time, the energy, and everything to do all this? And if it is my mission that I really sincerely feel and love, then magically the resources come in to do it. Would you say so?
Absolutely. 100% right. Without a doubt. Yeah. And put it into existence. And, you know, I had a lot of charisma early in my life, and it got me in a lot of trouble, got me in tons of trouble because I didn't have any integrity or skills, that charisma. All I had was the charisma. I could talk anybody into anything. And it got me into all kinds of bad places. It wasn't until I got in this business that I could even understand that and see that, where that little goofy, manipulative, lion way that I did business was maybe good for a temporary paycheck, but it served no one. And I will tell you that whether it's the John Maxwell training, whether it's Eric Worre training, I don't care what you do, but do it and get good like being good at. Obviously, my charisma, I'm going to have that as long as I live, and it's something I don't have to work on. I have it. I didn't have that other stuff. I didn't have the network marketing skills. I didn't have the integrity. I didn't have the morality. I didn't have the principles. And those are the things that I had to work on. And some of you are short on charisma, and you got to work on that, and good at skills, and you don't have to work on that. But I'm telling you, do what you don't want to do, because if you do that, it will be miraculous what comes out on the other side. I'm living proof of that. And I need you to know that I'm just an old train wreck done well, because I know most of us are old train wrecks done well. And I want what I have for you. And it's 10 times, you know, you don't want my life. You don't want to look like me. You don't want any of that stuff. But what it represents and what's been accomplished, you want, because you get to do anything you want for the rest of your life. And there's a, you know, making it, you know, if I had to retire tomorrow and leave my network marketing check, it would be bad, but it would not be catastrophic. from what I've learned here, from what I've learned in this business, because I now know I've got the skills to take over a country. I now know I've got the drive and the ability to do that. And that's a gift from God, because before I just didn't believe any of that in me. I believed in it in you. And I'm telling you, you can get that from following Bess and doing what she does.
Likewise, it takes one to know one, right? Tony Canuli, caring and listening to other people is real charisma. And David Peters, welcome. I know I saw you on the radio show yesterday that Tom did with Richard.
I love him.
To say hi to Donald and Roy, and Jeff says people first.
Yeah.
Sherry.
And it's so important.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone.
And it only gets better.
Go ahead, Tom.
And the more you feel like giving up, you know, and that whole time thing, well, don't quit before the miracle happens. Just constantly, Eric Worre again talks about plan, do, review. Doing, if it's not working, just adjust. But whatever you do, don't quit. I mean, this is absolute magic. And believe it or not, it's not your company that's the problem. It's not your product that's the problem. It's not your comp plan that's the problem. I promise you, the problem is you believe in that you can change and change the lives of people. And once you realize you can change and you get that inside job called you handled, then all of a sudden stepping into this leadership really, really starts to connect for you, because people want what you have. It's magic, and it's completely within your reach. No IQ required, I promise you.
We can do it. And there's actually 21 qualities of leadership that John Maxwell teaches too, and we're going to be covering those. There's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and there's 21 characters of leadership, and it's kind of fun to go through and say, well, which ones am I good at and which ones am I the weakest at, and show up my weakest ones. Tom, what would you say is the best example of leadership that you've seen in network marketing?
I think Eric is really, really good at what he does. I think that Ray Higdon is really, really good at what he does. I think they are strong, generic examples. I've watched so many people, and once I start getting company specific, I'm walking on a slippery slope, so I don't want to do that. But there are unbelievable leaders out there. Unbelievable leaders. And, you know, every one of them, what is so amazing about literally every leader that I know in network marketing is that they have a story that will bring you to your knees if you'll only take the time to listen. Not one of those guys was a silver spoon person. I mean, it is that simple. You've got to kill them, made them stronger. And this business is so hard, and it takes so long, that the people that are all hip, slick, and cool won't do it because they know it takes too much work. You got to probably have to get punched in the nose so many times to get to the point where you are finally teachable here. And, you know, and what's going through Bess's mind today, everybody, is Tom Chenault's not teachable. I gave him like 40 things we're going to talk about today, and he hasn't talked about one of them. All he's done is gone down rabbit holes on his agenda, and she's right. You know, because I'm reading the comments, I'm looking at the people saying stuff, and I'm trying to speak to them instead of at them, with the only feedback that I've got being the comments here. And that's just the way I roll, because I don't rely on my brain. I rely on my heart 100% of the time. And my intuition. So I apologize. I should have, actually Denice did apologize in advance for everything I was going to do. So we got that covered. But yeah, I don't believe that this business is scripted. I don't, you know, Tony Canuli is on my show next week with Kevin Thompson and Kevin Grimes, and he's been on there 50 times. Never once has he ever gotten a list of questions or scripts, because number one, it's that's when you start phoning it in. When you have the questions in advance, you just phone it in. And I don't believe life is anywhere to the point for me that I want to phone anything in, especially an interview this important.
So what they're saying is you are an example of a leader, of course, and I think you have talked about everything that is important that I wanted to know about leadership. Who has a question for Tom about leadership, network marketing? So how do you recognize when you are a good leader, Tom?
When they don't need me anymore. When they just
When
like
they
me and
what?
they don't need me. When they don't need me
Yes, they don't
anymore.
need
When
you anymore. All
somebody,
right.
you know, I swear this
All
is
right.
so funny. Oh, right on my phone. That's so sad. Because, okay, so I have 1 million people in my downline, correct? My business does about $10 million a year in a month in sales. And if I would have been able to do this the way I was trying to do it and be on a computer and I could have shown you my phone, I will lay you odds that I've gotten like 2 phone calls today. I swear, no one, the reason is so awesome. I've already called them and told them I loved them because early in the morning on my walk, I call my leaders before the competition does. The second thing, they're all so good and so developed and trained, they don't need me. There's nothing I can tell them they don't already know. Scott Bartulis, Louis Ariaza, Corey Gold, these people, they're doing their business. They don't need to get slowed down by Tom Chenault. And that's the truth. It's just so exciting. So my phone never rings. And people tell me all the
Congratulations.
time, this is so funny. People call me that don't know me and they go, I know how busy you are. And I go, what, you really? If you knew how busy I wasn't, you'd be flipped out because these people, I don't get called. And it's actually sometimes hurtful. I'm going, God, I can't believe they don't even call me, But the fact of the matter is we have a very, very good crew. I think I'm a pretty good talent scout. I drop people off right where they want to be. And I can recognize usually Michael Jordan in the 4th grade. I know that guy and I can tell somebody real early on has game, wants to be mentored and trained, and I put the laser beam on them and help them. So yeah.
Thank you. I just love that you put yourself out of a job, and that's what John Maxwell said when he left his church after 30 years in San Diego. It was time for him to move on. He was the pastor of that church, and he had all his leaders all leading and doing everything. And he said, don't be in such a hurry to get a new pastor because you guys are doing all the work and you don't want somebody to mess them up. So 2 months later, they messaged him and they said, hey, John, since you left, it's been great. Membership is up and donations are up and everything. And they said, if we would have known how great this was, when you leave, you could have left 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly right.
That's how you know when you put yourself out of a job. And Tony says he recognized real leaders. They practice humility and chase off arrogance. Yeah. And Tom's a master of relationship, making people feel good about themselves. No one better. I bug you to death. I bug you to death.
He does. That guy, David Peters, is new, and yeah, he is in the game. And every morning, I talk to him every day, and that's very, very cool. I love training. I'm trying to find. There you go. Maxwell's got 94 leadership quotes for you and your church. Have you ever seen those before? Have you ever seen those from Maxwell about your church? It's true that charisma can make a person stand out for a moment, but character sets a person apart for a lifetime. You build trust with others each time you choose integrity over image, truth over convenience, or honor over personal gain. Character makes trust possible, and trust is the foundation of leadership. Those are all Maxwell church quotes. And it's pretty weird that we don't see a lot of that. If you just Google John Maxwell church quotes, they came from his church that he ran, and they're not all churchy. They are straight from it, and it will knock your great communication depends on 2 simple skills. Context, which attunes a leader to the same frequency as his or her audience, and delivery, which allows a leader to phrase messages in a language the audience can understand. How many times do you get up in the front of the room and some goofball's talking comp plan lingo on your guest and telling them they're going to be a whiz-bang triple diamond, this, that, with this QV, that BV, that group volume, and your guest walked, all I wanted to do was come in, buy some products, and see if I could make a buck. That guy sounded like he was speaking a different language. And that do, unless we So you guys go out there. Somebody should put that on the comments, actually. John Maxwell Church quotes, and just Google that, and you're going to be blown. Persuasive communication involves enthusiasm, animation. Think about that. Is that cool enough? With a lot of people over 40, how do you
I'll
think we
put
can
that in the
change this?
quotes.
Yeah, Lucy Morris. Lucy Morris. Here's the way you do it. You prospect people like they're human beings, not like every person that's in network marketing that runs over and throws up on people. Walk in the door with nothing in your hands, not even your phone. Sit down, look that human being in the eye, listen to what they want, listen to what they don't want, leave that meeting powerfully loving them, figuring out that their agenda is, and then all of a sudden they're going to go, holy mackerel. They're going to say, Tom Chenault must be drinking again. Why? I had a cup of coffee with him at Starbucks. What happened? That's what's so crazy. All he did was talk to me. What'd you talk about? Oh, everything. It was the most unbelievable conversation. Did he try to sell you into that stupid MLM pyramid deal? No. Did he try to give you the weight loss wafer? No. Did he do anything like that? No. What'd you talk about? Everything. That's what she's going to say. But guess what, Lucy? All we talked about was that person's favorite subject was them. And all I do is ask questions. I control the conversation with questions. They never have an idea that I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to sell them in a few days, because I'm being that related and that authentic. And I promise you, it works like a charm. And they're going to leave. And if they said, I hate multi-level marketing, I don't even like you, Tom, you're ugly, I'm not going to, that's great. They're not going to be able to say I did anything except ask about them. So that's not going to give network marketing a bad rap. And we've got to change our perception through love and integrity. That's how we change the perception. That's it. Stop emailing garbage at people. When people look at Facebook to figure out what you're doing with your beautiful smile, and they open it up and they find a bottle of vitamins and say you're going to be a millionaire, you lost them. You sound like the guy that, you don't, no, be a human being first and foremost.
And be interested in people. So yeah, this was the most fascinating conversation. It was all about me. I mean, the prospect is enthralled to be able to be listened to for a change, because it's a very, very rare thing that people are truly, truly listened to or asked questions about, or, or for somebody to be curious, right? I feel touched when somebody just says, how are you? How's your day going? And Jeff does this all the time. That's how one way I got to know Jeff, is he was just check in and say, how are you? And, Jeff Gamble, that we're partners now teaching network marketers.
He's cool. I didn't know him until you told me I was going to be on the radio with him. So I know his blood type now. I went through everything. I Googled him. I Facebooked him. I called the FBI. I know Jeff Gamble now, and you have picked a great partner. It's very cute.
Thank you. You do that whenever you interview people. You really research them thoroughly. And that's a good example of a leadership quality too. Before you talk with the prospect, research them. Go on Facebook, learn all you can, or even on their websites. But Facebook will tell you a lot with their pictures and their profile. And so you learn all you can. And I hope you can meet Jeff in person one day. It's a real gift to me to be able to work together with him. And we'll tell our story some other time. There are similarities. You mentioned the church quotes and John Maxwell. There's a lot of similarities between nonprofit organizations and network marketing, and that we're all volunteers. You can't hire and fire and boss people around. You have to inspire them and lead them and love them. And I love that you said you call your leaders every day before the competition does. There's a joke that says, when's a good time to tell your wife you love her?
And what is it?
Before someone else does.
Amen to that. And that's exactly, you're 1,000% right. And no doubt about it. And that's also your leaders.
Exactly. Yes.
The peanut gallery. Write that down.
So
yeah. I love you guys.
She told me to say that. No, she didn't.
Amen to that.
Thomas learned you can't
Yeah,
change
she's probably
people. You can only
texting you
change
on the
yourself
back
and be
end.
the example for people to follow. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Change. I can only really change me. That's my business, right? They say there's your business, my business, and God's business. And my business, the only thing, stay out of my business, stay out of God's business and other people's business. My only business is to change me, right? Nancy, no massive
Yeah, that's
business
exactly
text
right.
blast to everyone. Yep. Anybody else have a question for us before we're going to round up and respect your time, Tom? And Peter likes Jeff too. Inspirely love. Love it. Inspirely love. Thank you. Thank you. Any lasting questions or thoughts, Tom, before we let you go about your busy day? Building new relationships is what you're doing, because you have your leaders on already going for themselves, and now you can reach out to new people and make a difference, can't you?
I do. Yeah. And that whole philosophy that I've got of interviewing two people in three-way in one, or dropping them off at a tool is all written down again at contactmapping.com. So if you go there, you'll see this coffee shop interview that has really launched this. But the coffee shop interview is nothing more than form or everything else. The reason I call it the coffee shop interview is because I don't drink alcohol anymore. And I like revolving my life around coffee shops instead of bars or Haagen-Dazs stores. So that's why it's called that. I just love this profession. I love the underdog. I love the misfit. Those are my people. And to be in a profession where you can take somebody that is absolutely 100% upside down in their life, but still has that spirit and that heart to go do something and help that person become their best self, and helping other people become their best selves is a gift from God, far more important than the money that you'll make or the health that you'll get. You'll have touched human beings, and that's all this is all about. So thank you, Bess.
Thank you. That's a wonderful summary, and I'll have everything there in a nutshell. I'm going to thank you from my heart for being on. Love to do it again. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. There's some precious comments here. We'll just go back and enjoy them in a little bit. Let's go put this into action today. Take one thing that you've heard today and practice it. Maybe it's listening to people. Maybe it's making it about them. Maybe it's being consistent. Maybe it's caring. Let's put this into action today and become better people today than we were yesterday. Let's improve just 1% a day. And by the end of the year, we have 365% improvement. Thank you, Tony, Mike. So glad to see you, Jacqueline, Chad, everyone who's come
Mike
on.
Limmer, how about that? It's a big time guy. Tony Canuli, big time guy.
Tony, thank you.
Chad Williams.
Thank you so much.
You got some serious people on this thing, so thank you.
Catch more wisdom at Tom Chenault Facebook page. There's some humor, wisdom, and of course his radio shows. So you can scroll back and see those. And Tony will be on next week with him, with some other wonderful people. So thank you so much for being with us, everybody. Enjoy, do, go, care, share. See you next time. Oh, tomorrow, MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, noon Eastern time. We're going to start with the number 1, John Maxwell, Law of the Lid of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So Jeff and I'll be back then. We'd love to see you guys then. Thank you all for being on. Bye-bye.